This week we're going to be talking about gifted education and twice exceptional students and the school counselor's role. I have created a PowerPoint to go along with this video to help those of you find the different resources that I've used, and it will also help provide a good outline to what I'll be discussing. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a message on the post or email me. Thanks. So what we're going to start with is talking about gifted education and what that is. In comparison with students that are musically, artistically, and athletically inclined, gifted education students are different. They can be described as a student who has different patterns in their approach to learning. Some of these characteristics of a gifted child or student can include, but is not limited to, curious or inquisitive, highly developed critical thinking skills. They can see relationships between difficult and diverse subject matter. They're persistent and even sometimes tenacious. They're highly developed in their observation skills, and they also have a keen sense of humor. Now we go on to twice exceptional students. These are students who are identified as gifted and or talented, but also have one or more disabilities, which are defined by the federal and state guidelines. Their disability will fall under an Individualized Education Plan, or an IEP, or Section 504 plan. Some of these characteristics can include, but are also not limited to, highly developed vocabulary, highly creative and or expressive, questioning, opinionated, stubborn, and their social interactions may seem difficult and or frustrating. To continue on twice exceptional, some things school counselors and classroom teachers must recognize. These students are more likely to be at risk due to their educational, social, and emotional needs that are being unmet and may even go undetected. We must develop and implement behavior plans and make sure that we address the students' disabilities. This can include the development and implementation of an IEP or Section 504 plan, and most importantly, we must collaborate with classroom teachers, special education teachers and staff, gifted education teachers if they're available at your school, administrators, and most importantly, the parents and or guardians to fully support and provide the best educational and learning environment possible. Furthermore, in this subject, my personal experiences have included work with autistic children that are highly functional but have a very hard time functioning in a regular classroom environment. I was an advisor to one last year who had an Asperger's syndrome, and he was extremely intelligent but had a difficult time socially and also completing his homework. This also is a characteristic of the twice exceptional student, which can go unnoticed. Lack of organizational skills. These are just some things that I have taken from my personal experiences and have found in researching this topic. Now we're going to go into what the ideal school program would be. One that nurtures and develops the student's abilities to assess and comprehend facts, arguments, different perspectives, and so on and so forth. This can encompass a large amount within the learning environment for these students. We must always remember that these students are as important as the at-risk, discipline problems, and even the regular students that are academically focused. Also, we need to remember that we need to help to develop a higher level of critical thinking skills for these students. We need to provide an expressive learning environment and also to allow for students to create new ideas and original thoughts. We must also help them reason through complex thoughts and problems and work independently both on research, homework, and projects. Now we get to what the school counselor's role would be in a perfect world. Now remember, this isn't a perfect world. I wish I could say this was being implemented across the nation, but as we have all encountered and understood throughout this course, the national model is not always followed due to funding, the amount of responsibilities and duties that school counselors have, and so on and so forth. So ideally, to fully support the gifted, twice exceptional, and all other students, our national model states that school counseling programs should be an integral part of students' daily educational environment, and school counselors should be partners in student achievement. Furthermore, it also continues to state that we must help students focus on academic, personal, social, and career development so they can achieve success in school and are prepared to lead fulfilling lives as responsible members of society. The big point that I'm trying to make here is that this includes all students. We must not forget this. Although we are focusing on gifted and twice exceptional students, this encompasses all students. We also must provide resources for all gifted and twice exceptional students to further nurture and develop their potential. I have listed on my PowerPoint one example of a gifted program located right in state in Durham. It's called the Talent Identification Program. It's located at Duke University, and they use the SAT exam to find gifted children at approximately starting at age 12. Participants encompass not only the students of North Carolina, but nationwide and even overseas. Courses offered include calculus, Latin, American history, biology, chemistry, literature, and writing. And that just is the tip of the iceberg. They also offer more, and I have included this in my resources on my post. In closing, I want to go over some important reminders. We must provide services to all students. We must not forget that. That is one of the biggest points in our national model. We must support each of them in the 3 areas as defined in the national model, and we must do our best to equally serve all students. This does include focusing more on services and attention on at-risk students, or focusing more on academically gifted students. We must remember that although we are really focusing on the ideal perspective of this topic, I must stress that we must not forget that we have to work with all students. If you have any questions, I have my references listed, and I also have my more resources located on my post, as I've mentioned before. I hope this has been a help, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me or leave a comment on my post. Thanks!